Welcome to the wonderful world of Pragmatic Psychology. I'm your host, Susanna and we are going to explore how your difference is the gift that our world requires. All right, so welcome everybody to this episode of Pragmatic Psychology. Susanna here. And today we have the honors of having Gary Douglas join us. Welcome, Gary.
Thank you, Susanna.
So, Gary, how can I introduce you? You are one of the most incredible people on this planet, inspiring. Like, you changed my life years ago and still do every day. And so are you changing like thousands of people's lives every day? Created access consciousness, I think over 30 years ago or something. Now in over 176 countries, like huge movement, worldwide movement. And Gary is also the man who asked and inspired me to create Pragmatic Psychology. So because of him, we have all of these amazing tools that are just like incredible. So Gary, thank you for being here. And I have so many questions, and I'm sure people listening have too. And so one of the questions that are in my world today is like, what future do you see we could create on this planet now, or like what future is available for us? What are you aware of? What is possible?
Okay, well, the thing is, for me, what I realize is the future is something that we have to create, not something we can just fall into. And people have been functioning as though we just fall into it and it's going to be okay, which I don't think ultimately it will be okay, quote unquote. I mean, you're seeing politics be weird around the world. You see people, selling off the rainforest, burning the rainforest, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Little of it is about the communion with Earth that we need to have. What we can start doing is creating a sense of the stewardship of the Earth instead of trying to use the Earth and trying to take money from the Earth and trying to get our share of the money. Maybe we can start looking at how we can take care of the Earth and be part of it and enjoy it and be grateful for it.
Wow. And so, like, when people hear about, when you said politics and all that stuff, it's so easy to go crazy right now. So, like, what else is possible beyond like going into this weirdness that's presented every day? You just have to go on Google and are presented with all these, points of views. Like, what would you recommend? What is possible, like, to not go crazy in these times?
Develop a sense of humor. See how funny these people sound. It's like, I went to dinner the other night, and these people were talking about what a great time they had when they met, Trump, and they had gone to Florida to a wedding. They, are part of the wealthy set here in Houston, and so they had gone to this wedding that was at Mar-a-Lago, his resort, and somebody had set up a wedding there, and so they went to see it, and they happened to meet him. And Trump said to the lady, it's like, love your hair. It's beautiful. And she goes, thank you so much. I love yours too, Mr. President. He says, yeah, but nobody makes fun of yours. And as I thought, wow, I didn't realize he was so sensitive about that.
Wow.
But it's like, it's just amazing that people have these strange points of view. And you got to see the humor in it. And they just love him because they think he's a wonderful person. Why? Because he's from the same economic set that they are from. Well.
Wow. And so, okay, so is this where like the sameness, like trying to be the same, like when you work a lot with people all the time, every day, talk with a lot of people, facilitating them, like, is this where you see people go like go into craziness in this reality, like they try to be the same like everybody else, rather than, okay, what's my reality? Maybe even humor.
Exactly. Yeah. What's my reality? Different point of view.
Yeah. Wow. That's really amazing. So this is actually something that I like with all the classes I've done with you, especially recently. This is such a freedom to go, hey, what is my reality? What do I know? And I know with pragmatic psychology, we work a lot with, also inspiring people to know that they know and empowering people to know that they know. And that's such a different perspective, the knowing what you know. So is there like anything, especially now, like how can people even start knowing what they know, especially now?
It's like you have to be inspired by the humor in things. You have to see it as funny. How does the earth treat, the bird? When the bird sings, what does the earth do? Nothing. It's still the earth. When somebody has, a yowling, raving lunatic moment, what do? You go into alignment and agreement with them, their resistance or reaction to it, and tell everybody that they're crazy.
You could laugh also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you could just be an allowance of them, go, okay, you're crazy.
Absolutely. And the allowance is such a big key. Not agreeing, not aligning, not resisting and reacting, and an incredible freedom that gets created in such a different space to be an allowance. And I like really practicing every day, like seeing people agreeing and aligning with what's going on right now, and just like, allowance. And also like allowance for our reality. Like what I keep asking is like, okay, so what's my reality here? If I wouldn't agree and align and resist and react, what do I know? What's my reality? And that's so helpful. And it's something that I so like learned in all these classes with you, and everything that you facilitate, this like constant allowance, like in both directions. So have you like always known that you were different?
Yes, I've always known I was bizarre. When I was 10 years old, I took my sister by the hand and we went to church every Sunday. And I was in Sunday school, and then I would go to church. And I always felt like, it's like I saw these people, talking to each other, being nice on Sunday. And then on Monday, they would just be screwing each other. I go, what the hell is that? That seems it seems like you're not being true to what you say. And I believe in being true to what I say. And it was very interesting to realize how few have that point of view. And they weren't true to what they said. They would say one thing on one day and another thing on another day because that was what was true for them.
So with realizing how different you were, and, you see what is, and like this, the knowing what you know, like how did you start seeing this as a resource, this difference? I mean, so many people, like they go, oh yeah, I'm different, but it's something wrong. It's horrible. I don't fit in. I'm too much or whatever. But you seem to have seen this difference as a gift. Like how did you start getting that this is actually a resource?
Well, one of the first things that came to me is I read a set of books called The Alexandrian Quartet by Lawrence Durrell. And there are 4 books that are written from 5 different points of view. And they're about the same time period, the same events in Alexandria in the 1920s. And it's very interesting to see this place where people are looking at the same events, but it's a very different experience for each one of them. And I began to realize that no matter what we experience in life, we can only experience it from our point of view, and everybody else experiences from theirs. So we need to look at what other people's points of view are of the events, so that we know what's actually true for us.
Wow, and that is such a different perspective. I mean, most people, when they find their perspective, they would go and exclude the other people's perspective, rather than what you say now. Okay, I'm aware of my of my awareness, of my perspective, but I also am aware of other people's perspectives, and I include that. You know, that's such a different way of functioning than, you know, this, okay, this is my reality and this is your, like, it's like, this reminds me of Dirty Dancing, you know, like when Patrick Swayze says, this is my dance space and this is your dance space. It's like, yeah.
Well, the other thing is, I was lucky because I learned to dance when I was a kid. Ballroom dancing, I did, you know, it's like I was the best ballroom dancer of anybody knew.
You are a great dancer. Yeah.
You know, and I wanted to be like Fred Astaire, you know, because I thought he was just so wonderful. And it was interesting to realize that, you know, it's like some people will be led, other people will always try to lead. Some people can follow and few people can't. Mm-hmm. So when you realize that if life is a dance, are you leading? Are you following? Are you being led? Are you being a follower? What are you doing in life? Get your role, get it as what you're working on, working as, and how you're functioning. And then everything becomes different.
Wow. And that's like, that is so pragmatic. That's like doing what works in every moment. You don't have the need to lead. You don't have the need to follow, but you have an awareness of what's required in every moment to, you know, create, actualize, move things forward. Wow. So is there like, you know, now that we start talking about, okay, so difference, you know, like, you know, I've been working with so many people who have been diagnosed, I'm insane, you know, this and that. And, you know, mostly people just function different, see the world different. And you always having known, okay, I am different and this is actually a gift. What else is possible to start getting, hey, your difference is not a wrongness, it's actually a gift?
Asking that question, what else is possible here? Rather than trying to see the right or wrong of something, what else is possible? Because if you don't try to see the right or wrong, and you see what else is possible, a whole new world opens up. When I was a kid, there were several people who were, quote unquote, foreigners who moved into the neighborhood. There was a set of Hispanic people, and then there was the Russian woman who went out and bought her daughter clothes that would fit her in 5 years. And she made the little girl wear them until they fit her. And then by that time, there would be a mess, so she'd throw them away and then go buy her something that would fit her in 5 years. And it's like she was, you know, trying to save money. But at any rate, my mother was always, those people are poor, don't eat at their house because they can't afford to feed you. So I would go to their house, but I wouldn't eat at their house. And it's like the Hispanic people had chickens and goats and all kinds of stuff, and they grew their own vegetables, and they served great stuff, but I wasn't allowed to eat it. The Russian woman had fruit trees in her backyard and would give me fruit, and I'd have to take it home to my mom, who would generally speaking throw it out because she couldn't trust a Russian, because that was right after World War II.
Wow, yeah.
And it's like, I was just like, okay, this is so weird. I don't understand these people. What's their problem? So when I was a teenager, the Hispanic people who had a lot next door to them that was empty, that nobody knew who owned it, they took everything off of it and they built an apartment building, 4 apartments on this lot. And so here, these poor people had more money than we did because they built a 4-story apartment building, and they were getting rent from then on from that.
Wow. And, it's so cool when you talk about this also, like these whole, like everybody has their different perspective, as we said before. And what gift is that also, like, and especially in times like these, like, this including of other people's perspective. And it's so, like, I see like how I learn so much from, this is how this person sees the world. This is what they choose. And how everything just adds. And people are so paranoid oh my God, like I have to, like, not only virus wise, but also like, oh my God, like this is this person's reality and I have to exclude and separate, rather than this, like the dance we talked before, we like, what else is possible for our future?
What if this is the dance of our future?
Yeah, wow.
And I think we have to look for the dance of our future.
Wow.
Look for where we need to move, look for where we need to be led, and look for where we can lead. And in that, we start to create a different possibility.
And this is also where, like talking about insanity, it gets a totally different perspective. People who like listen to these shows oftentimes have the point of view, oh, I'm so wrong, I'm so this and that. And so what is insanity really?
Insanity is believing you can make anybody else happy.
Oh, wow. That's cool. Yep, I've been that a lot. Yes. That's
It's
amazing.
like, you try to make your parents happy. They seldom get happy.
Wow. So sanity then would be seeing what is, like with no point of view, or what is
seeing what is, happening, what is this, and what do I do with it, and how do I change it?
Yeah. Wow. Life gets way too easy. Oh my God, we would be so different.
I know. It makes your life different when you do it, but it's like literally it's the place where I function from. But as I see it, is the way to create a different universe.
Yeah, totally. Gosh, and that, that space that you invited before about the dance of the future. Oh my goodness. Like there's so much to it, and just like sensing of, oh, what different lives and futures and we could create dancing rather than fighting. Oh.
Yeah. If you could dance instead of fight, what could you create?
Yeah. Amazing. So, okay, I'm going to ask this a lot. Where else can I dance? What else is, what more dances can I add to my life? Different world. We were horseback riding 2 days ago or something. And, that is something that also horses invite so much to, this dance, and this no need to lead, no need to follow, but knowing what's required. Yeah.
If you ride a horse, you have to be present with them. And it's like, that's the greatest gift they are, is they teach you to be totally present, because when you're not present is the only time they act badly.
Yeah.
If you're present, they will just be right with you and go with you and do with you and help you and be led by you.
Yeah. And it's interesting because also when you make someone else's world relevant, it's not a fun ride, whether it's horseback riding or whatever. Because the other day we were out riding with this group of people, and there was this guy behind us who, like, he was nervous and he wasn't at ease, and I could sense it. And his horse was like coming close to mine, and we were running, and I could feel how his horse just, he couldn't control it anymore, and I realized how I wanted to help him or contribute, which was a really interesting thing in my world. And then we stopped. And as we stopped, I fell off the horse, but it wasn't like a big thing. So I went up again, and no worries, all easy. And I realized, okay, I have a pretty, easy world. Up again, no worries. But then I could feel like all other people's worlds, like, oh my God, and all the projections. And I realized how easy it is to go into other people's worlds rather than what is my reality here. And it's such a great practice, to keep asking, what is my reality? And if I would be me, what would I choose? And that was really apparent with the horseback riding. Like, when you go into somebody else's world rather than, what's available here, what's my reality.
I can give you another choice.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Go into his horse's head and ride his horse as well as yours.
Oh, I love that. That's great. Thank you for that. Yay.
That's one of the things I learned to do years ago, is I can ride 10 horses all at the same time.
Wow. Amazing. that would really mean acknowledging your capacities to do that. Amazing. So there's so much that Gary has to offer. There are so many videos and books and classes and so many amazing gems for you guys to check out. And also Gary and I wrote a book together called Advanced Pragmatic Psychology. There's the Pragmatic Psychology book that I wrote years ago, and we actually created a book together that's going to come out soon, which is like inviting to navigate beyond trauma, drama, upset, and intrigue. And it's really incredible. And writing this book, creating this book with you, Gary, actually, what was so incredible is you never function from explaining or trying to make sense or, making it, understandable for people. It's like you always invite to this space and possibilities, and then people get to choose. And they get to choose what they would like to do with it. And this is something that I really got out of this, creation with you, with all classes, but also especially with creating this book. That's, wow, amazing. So I'm really grateful.
At least one person got the results I was interested in.
No, it's
so it's a successful bet.
Totally, absolutely. Ching, success. It's like, I used to function from, I have to, make it explainable to people. And then when they get it, they will choose something different, which is, like how I was trained doing psychology. But then like inviting people to choose what they, would like to choose is such a different space of functioning and empowering
Yeah. Well, I always thought it was funny that psychology, the original definition of the word, meant to know. The study of knowing. And it's like, and then they decided it was the study of behavior and how to change people's behavior. And it's like, why would you want to change people's behavior if you could know what their behavior was and meant?
Exactly.
Different possibilities from my point of view.
Yep, exactly. And inspiring leaders of the future rather than followers of whatever is supposed to be right or wrong. Yep. So this is what we're inviting to, guys. Book is coming out soon. So thank you so much, Gary, for taking your time and inspiring us to what else is possible.
It's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure talking to you, Miss Susanna. You're so sweet.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Gary. And, stay tuned for the next episode. And looking forward. Thank you, Gary. And bye, everyone.
Take care.
You too.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye. How was the show for you? Are you inspired? Feel free to share this episode with anyone you think would appreciate it too. Thank you for the contribution you are to spreading possibilities around the world. For more information, visit my webpage www.susannamiddlemeier.com.